everyone and welcome back to my channel. As you can read from the title of this video, I would like to share with you today some books that I would love to get to in the upcoming months. They are all books that I connect with spring in some way, even though I haven't read them yet. The story in itself might not necessarily have anything to do with spring, but I sometimes feel like this book would be perfect for a specific season, and that's how I feel about all of these 14 novels that I have chosen for today. And as you can hear, I have a lot of books to talk about, so let's just get started on this video. Now, I'm not making any promises as to getting to all of these novels in the upcoming months. I might change my TBR as I prefer, but for now, these are the books that I am interested to read very soon. And the first one is an Anne Tyler novel, actually the last one that I own of hers. It's kind of sad because I have read so many of her novels in the past months, and I love her so much. Here we have Back When We Were Grown-Ups. I don't know too much about it, but look at the cover, which screams spring to me. Next we have a very big novel, and that is Blonde by Joyce Carol Oates. The reason why I would like to pick up this one is because I would just like to continue getting to know Joyce Carol Oates and her works. So this book is the next one in my journey of hers, of reading her books at least. This is about Marilyn Monroe. It's a fictional piece of work about her life, and I'm just super excited to get to it. If it's as good as the others of Joyce Carol Oates novels, then it's going to be really, really good. I would also very much like to continue reading my books by Ellie Smith, so I've chosen out There But For The, which is kind of a funny title and kind of a funny story, I believe, because it's about a man who locks himself in his room, and then things ensue from there. I'm not too sure about the actual plot, as you can hear, but that's because I haven't read it yet, naturally. I also have a non-fiction book, which is by Olivia Lang, and that is To the River. Now, you might know her other book, which has become quite popular here on BookTube, and that is The Lonely City, which I read last year and loved. So I have purchased some more of her books, and here is the next one I would like to continue with reading. Now, this one is based on Virginia Woolf and her desire to drown herself, or at least water's effect on her life. Something like that. I am once again very vague about my synopsis, but I'm very curious to actually read it and see how water and Virginia Woolf connect. I thought that I would also put in a classic in my spring TBR, because I do have a lot of unread classics on my shelves, and I've gone for Sealless by George Eliot, because the cover is kind of spring-like, and also it's a very short book, so it's one of those classics that is not going to be too heavy to read during the sunny months. I have read previously Middlemarch by this author, and I quite liked it, so I will be curious to read this one as well. I sincerely hope that I'm in focus. Next one is Shame by Melanie Finn, which takes place in Africa. This one is about a woman who all of a sudden wakes up in Africa without knowing how she got there, which sounds really peculiar, and of course I'd like to read it and see what happens to this poor woman. Now, the next one is absolutely spring-like, and that is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I can never pronounce her name. This one, as you can see from the cover, must be about the sunny days of either spring or summer. I've never read this classic, even though it's very beloved, and I've been wanting to read it for quite some time now, so why not just pick it up now? John Irving is one of my absolute favorite authors. Even though he writes kind of peculiar novels, I like him. And the next book is a book of his, and that is The World According to Garb, which is a book that obviously I haven't read, and I don't know if it's got a lot to do with spring, but it's the next one of his that I would like to get to. So once again, I just feel like I want to read this book very soon, and that's why it's on this list. I seem to be on a never-ending journey to read and finish Robin Hobb's books. Now, this one is the third one in her Tawny Man trilogy, which is the one I've gotten to. It's about 900 pages long, And the second book in this series I read recently, and I liked it, but I wasn't blown away because it felt like a lead up or a build up to this book. So I hope this one is going to be a lot better, a lot more interesting to read, because then I will just fly through these pages like no other. I seem to have quite a lot of big books on my spring TBR, but I like that. It's okay with me. The next one is a young adult novel, which I've had on my shelves for I think 3 years now. I know it's really bad, but at least I'm getting to it very soon, and that is The Host by Stephenie Meyer. I have watched the movie, and I have partly forgotten the movie, so I hope that with this book I will get a whole new experience of the story. I have heard that the book is really, really good, and it's about 2 souls in one body, if I'm not mistaken. It's quite long, but well, I'm one of those people who grew up with Twilight when I was a teenager, or actually I wasn't a teenager, I was in my 20s, which is not embarrassing. I really like Twilight either way, so I'm curious to read this one by the same author and see what this one is going to be like. So that was 10 books. I have 4 more to go, and the next one is Hot Milk by Deborah Levine. This one is absolutely gorgeous on the cover. I like the nature, and it makes me think of summer and spring and sunny days, which is good. I have heard quite ambivalent reviews of this novel, which is not very long, and it's about a woman and her daughter going on a journey, and that's all I know. So either way, I'm curious to read it, and I will let you know all about it when I have done so. That goes for all of the books, naturally. Another gorgeous cover is The Sacred Comb by Thomas Maloney. Now this one is supposed to be about an elder man, and that's all I remember. Yeah, this is the one about an elder man whose wife through many years has just left him, and now he is left alone, and he is about to start his new life being alone and trying to figure out how to live now without his wife. It sounds kind of heartbreaking, but I think it's going to be refreshing to read something a little bit deeper and more serious compared to some of the other books I have chosen. Now, I think it's finally time that I continue reading a book by an author that I'm very skeptical about, and I'm also very skeptical about this novel because I have read another book of his which I hated, really didn't like. But let's see how this one goes. This is The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. The book I have read earlier is Cloud Atlas, which was not for me, and I've heard that this one is a continuation of that book. Now you might be wondering, why did I buy this book then? That's because I bought it before I even read Cloud Atlas, and now I feel like I should really read this one. It has a stunning cover, and since I own it either way, then why not just read it and see? Maybe it will surprise me, and maybe I will actually adore it. And that leads me to the very last novel that I would like to show you in this video, and that is The Husband's Secret by Liane Moriarty. I have read 2 other of her novels and adored those. Let me just find them. So the 2 other novels I've read of hers are Truly Madly Guilty, which was my favorite so far, and actually this one will maybe be turned into a TV show in the future, which I'm very excited about. And I've also read Big Little Lies, which has already been turned into a TV show with Reese Witherspoon and Nicole Kidman and so many other amazing actors. I'm watching that TV show currently and really liking it as well. The last one of hers that I own is naturally The Husband's Secret, which I've heard weak reviews of, I have to admit. But I would still like to read it because sometimes a book surprises me and it ends up being one of my favorites, even though it wasn't good in other people's eyes. And that is it for my spring TBR 14 books, which I would like to get to in the upcoming months. Thank you ever so much for watching, and have a great day everyone. Happy reading.